Jeremy, what's up, man? Are you back from India yet? Rockefeller's already on. Top fan, Jeremy Rockefeller. Mics are live, just not seeing our pretty faces yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, I see what you were talking about now.
Yeah.
I missed that.
What's up, everybody? We are waiting for a couple more people, so you're just going to hear the sultry tones of our voice as we go. We are... Rockefeller's back. Welcome back, Jeremy. You missed quite a bit of weather. Yeah, everybody, what started with, us breaking in the middle of a tornado warning, and we are somewhere on the kind of outer edge of another thunderstorm warning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, things went a little crazy after that for the next several days.
A little bit.
So it is.
And it's continued to go crazy.
Yeah. I've learned a lot about dam structural integrity.
Yeah, we are amateur hydrologists at this point, I think, because we've been worried about outflow and inflow and pressures and we were just talking about a levee system that's kind of in question at the moment, and I know right where that levee system is, which is not good because I know people that live there. So yeah, it's
something. It is something.
Yep. And Jared and I both are right on the cusp of like what they're calling a 100-year floodplain.
Yeah, by what, like a mile?
Well, for me, yeah, it's about 2 blocks one way and a mile the other way.
I figure before
But I looked this morning. I go way up from where that plane is, so I feel okay.
I feel like I'm close enough to a particular street that, like, all the water would basically rush it. Because you're
in a valley.
Well, yes, but the lowest point of the valley is not where I am.
True.
It's further north.
True.
And so
very true.
Water will rush past me, and then it will make its way back to me. I was talking to the guy who has a model house next door. He lives out in Wasso. And when all that rain came in, that had nothing to do with the river, stuff like that. They got 10 inches of rain. He had 2 feet of water in his garage, and it totaled his car.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah. He said in 12 hours, just boom.
Uh-huh.
So he's just like, I get a new detached garage, and I get a new car. Because he has flood insurance. So
the moral of the story is don't wait until you need it to get it.
All right. Now I'm actually going to press the record button.
Go for it.
We're actually recording. What's up, everybody? We're waiting on Hannah.
Wait, we're recording?
We're recording.
Oh, man. Darn it.
Got to keep all the cursing to a minimum.
I was kind of hoping that just wasn't going to happen today. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, we're good. No, we're just going to show everybody's... See, there's Barb. There's an empty chair.
Yep.
And flashing lights.
Oh, yeah.
We record in a rave club.
Yeah, we're just... Everybody's asleep right now.
Yeah.
They raved all night.
Exactly. So, yeah. Episode 124 of Gather the Nerds. We'll introduce Hannah when she gets here. But I'm Kevin. That's Nick.
What's up, guys?
How is everybody today? I hope everybody is dry and safe and everything. We were talking about the weather just a couple minutes ago. It's pretty crazy out where we are. Since Hannah and Sam are not here, spoilers, and you're caught up on Game of Thrones because they haven't watched it, and they will at some point. What was your take on the end?
It was neat to see the people that started the show in the show.
Yeah.
They really were on the nose with destroying of the throne.
Yes.
I didn't catch it until obviously the end.
Yeah.
But with them destroying it, it's like they're telling you who's going to get it. There's no throne because he doesn't need one. He's in a chair.
I didn't go that far with it. I went with because in earlier seasons they had kind of intimated that dragons are highly intelligent creatures, like even more so than humans.
Mm-hmm.
And that I took it as Drogon understood the throne is what killed her. By the way, she dies. Spoilers. The throne is what killed her, and so he's just like, well, if she can't have it, nobody gets it. Kind of like a petulant child.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
I had taken it completely the opposite direction there, thinking that it was melted because of Bran Stark being in a wheelchair.
Gotcha. All right.
So
Yeah.
Shows you what I know.
Yep. So, Hannah and them were just a couple minutes away, but I thought it was cool. The fact they left a water bottle in the final scene was pretty awesome. Did you?
I did not see it, and I haven't
Yeah.
even gone back to look.
I'm sure they fixed it by now, but there's that.
You have to think, like, at some point you have to think, are they trolling people? Like, did they know? I don't know.
Who knows? But the thing is, I don't know. There's a bunch of ways it could have ended. Like it's the Daenerys on the throne, but like for me, like when she burned basically every King's Landing to the ground, like you knew she was gonna die. It's just gonna be a matter of who.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the only thing that I was a little disappointed in how she died was the fact that it wasn't who I thought it was going to be.
Who did you think it was? Like I
thought it was going to be Arya.
I did too.
I thought because of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse kind of vibe to the horse that she hopped on.
Yeah.
Of course, then at the first 2 seconds of the shot, I'm like, "Where's the horse?"
Yeah, what you wrote out.
She's outside of the walls. Where is the horse?
And now she's back in the walls.
Yeah, like, I couldn't figure it out. I
have to get this horse to freedom.
You are free, my child.
And it was, it was what it was. John being able to live free north of the wall, I thought was a pretty cool touch.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
well, we were talking about dam rates earlier. 268 in, 254 out.
Oh, it's 268. Yeah, so they're releasing some stuff higher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
not bad.
So, yeah, obviously set all kinds of records, things like that. People were, ticked about the whole thing, but
I think people are going to be unhappy no matter what, though. I mean, it's one of those shows that it's been going on for so long. It's like Psyched or anything else.
Yeah.
You develop a relationship with those characters. You want to see certain things happen, and sometimes they don't.
They don't happen that
And
way.
in Game of Thrones, I mean, really? Was anybody ever safe? I mean, come on now.
I was half expecting everybody to be dead.
Well, yeah, dragons inherit the world. Move on.
Just like,
yeah.
Of
course, I'm curious. The other part that was a little bit, I felt like they left it unfinished, but they had to, is where Drogon went.
Yeah, I mean, that was
because they were like spotted over here, wherever. And
Bran's just going to warg him. He's just going to warg him.
Well, and I thought that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But
his eyes didn't roll into the back of his head. He's like, I'll find him. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, but, I kind of anticipated that we would see that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that's the missed shot that I think HBO has, because now, I mean, while you don't necessarily have to do Game of Thrones again, you could. And you could tell a different story of, like, Bran the Broken.
Yeah, and I think, they've said very specifically there will be no direct sequels to Game of Thrones. Because everyone's like, Arya's on a boat. She's going to this place, what is west of Westeros?
Right.
She's going to this whatever. Talk about a perfect, you could just...
You could do a spin-off of that.
A spin-off with just her, and the people at HBO said that is not happening.
Yep.
So...
But I think it's a missed opportunity.
Heather's here.
If you ask me.
Where's the Sam? There's the Sam.
Sam the man.
You're good. We're just talking about Game of Thrones, so...
I saw it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
Happened to be somewhere with HBO.
Speaking of Game of Thrones, today Harper and I watched
Game of Thrones. I have to worry about your parenting choices.
Harper and I watched a prop maker make the dagger from Game of Thrones.
Arya's the Valyrian steel.
Yeah.
Nice.
But he made it out of wood, and
that's not Valyrian steel.
But he made it out of wood and epoxy putty.
Okay.
And paint. And I'm telling you, the thing looked just like it did when she had it. Is amazing.
But can it kill a White Walker?
Well, I'm going to guess probably not. Probably vampire, though. It's probably good there. It's made of wood.
Okay, we'll get to that. So
it's like a wood steak, but pretty.
Sam and Hannah are here. Episode 124.
Oh, man, if your name was Ella, that would work. Sam and Ella. Sam and Ella's here.
Nice.
I mean, I know.
Is that a reference to church?
It kind of is.
Yeah.
For church is, man,
Did
Wendy.
Shanna get it too, or was it just church?
I think it's both of them. She said we.
Wendy's and Smashburger. Like, talk about checking two off the list. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because, like, I go to that Wendy's, like, every once in a while I'll go to that one. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Somebody on our
It's
group,
off the list.
they're not in the room, got some bad food. We don't know where. We're not.
I'm
We're
convinced
not
Church was playing in the
supposing-
river,
Yeah.
and he got something from
I
the
think
river.
Church is why
Fishing?
people got warned about playing in the water. I'm fairly certain of that.
There was this very large, looked like a child, could have been a man.
Well, so there was a guy that was kayaking in Bentley Park like 4 days ago, and then 2 days ago there were kids swimming in the water.
On
That
the
was by Bigsby too. What's that?
That's where Bentley Park is. Yeah.
Okay.
The
yeah,
first
but then on Riverside there were people that were doing it too.
that first night when all the rain came down before the river decided to
Rise
take
up
its
and get us.
revenge, he kayaked down his street.
That's awesome.
And so, because I guess that happened, we got a bunch of rain. I guess he was like 4 or 5 years ago. We got a bunch of rain, and his street kind of flooded, and he kind of hesitated, and he never got a chance to do it. So he's been waiting for like 5 years. He's like, "This is my shot. Like I
funny.
gotta go."
But see, rainwater like that is
Yeah.
to me is different than floodwater.
Oh yeah, no,
There's a level of clean
Yeah.
that is along with rainwater. So
yeah,
for those of you that don't know, for some reason, Oklahoma has been
Underwater.
in the crosshairs of water as of late. And
Yeah.
we've had so much that essentially Tulsa and surrounding areas that we're in have been in tremendous flood risk,
Yep.
both from a flow rate, which is what we were talking about earlier when we said we're amateur hydrologists, and then just flooding in general from things failing.
yeah,
So we're safe from the failing aspect of it, but some people to the west of us are not.
yep.
So
So we've got some cool things to talk about. It's fortuitous that you're here, Sam, because there's a boatload of gaming in this agenda. So
I'm
this
so
morning-
excited.
he broke out the big vocabulary.
Oh,
Fortuitous.
fortuitous, yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I
Yeah.
don't even know what that means.
If I played Word with Friends, I feel like that's at least 30 points.
You'd
So-
think so, but really the F is the only big word there.
I guess that's true. Everything
Yeah,
else is
big
like a
letter.
1-pointer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on what tiles you played or what spaces you played on.
You'd have to do it on a
Triple
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 word.
word with a triple letter.
Add
Is
it
that
to the
in
end of
Words
another
with
word.
Friends? Triples?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
It's the full
I haven't-
Scrabble layout.
Well, I
Yeah.
haven't played it in a while, so
How they don't get sued by Scrabble, I have no idea.
because it's Words with
We
Friends.
shouldn't have said anything.
So,
Let's not get sued by Scrabble. How about that?
All
Let's
right.
just worry about us.
all right. All right, where do we want to start? We've got one thing in DC, some Marvel, some gaming, and some TV movie stuff. News was a little light this week. Where do we want to start?
Well, it wasn't light, but nerd news was
Nerd news was light.
not the primary focus.
We woke up today and I turned on the TV and Harper goes, "We're gonna watch the news again?" I go, "Actually, no, we're not gonna watch the news."
We were so
Oh.
busy with all the random weather and tornadoes and all the other stuff. I still haven't even posted the audio from last week
We've
yet.
Yeah.
done nothing.
Like, nothing has happened. So you guys are going to get a double dose before we roll off to Denver.
That's right.
Um,
And we're flying. We're not floating or rolling.
yeah, that's true.
However, it was snowing there when it was tornadoing here. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
or maybe it wasn't snowing. It was at least cold.
The mountains are at least getting snow.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
40 degrees.
Snow's better.
I'll go with that.
Yep.
I'll go with that.
All right, let's roll into Marvel / It's all one thing now. Do we need to just start calling the Marvel section the Disney section? Because it's Disney, it's Star Wars, it's Marvel, like, it's all of those things.
No, I don't think so. Call it what it is, Marvel.
Okay, well, we're going to start with Star Wars then.
Okay.
There has been a lot of discussion over the past 3 or 4 days, maybe a week, about a BuzzFeed article that came out that they were working on a script for a new trilogy based on Knights of the Old Republic. They have a screenwriter, allegedly, who the most recent credit was she wrote Shutter Island. She was an executive producer on Avatar and co-wrote Alita Battle Angel, which did like no business here, like in the U.S., but it's like it's in the top 10 overall movies so far for 2019. So it did big overseas business. So tell me about Knights of the Old Republic, because it's been so long. What makes this cool? Sam?
If you played it, go for it. I never played it.
You didn't?
I never played
Oh,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was a PC game, right?
No, I was console,
it a console as
and
well?
PC.
Was is it
I'm a
original,
bad-
like OG
I'm a
Xbox?
bad fan.
Yeah, OG Xbox.
However,
But
on
yeah.
this link, there's a Game of Thrones video with lightsabers.
Yeah.
Grey Worm has Darth Maul's lightsaber. I'm gonna watch that while you talk, and I'll chime in.
Okay. So, OG Xbox, it was...
See, I didn't have an OG Xbox.
It was a BioWare game. So it was a RPG, sort of like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, in the vein of those. It was very famous because it had a huge twist towards the end of it. And since it came out 15 years ago and everybody knows the twist, I kind of wonder, how they're going to do that movie-wise. That would be very difficult to keep secret.
No.
Sure.
But also, that universe was where they had their, had their MMO. And that was the same universe that nobody played. Well, none of us played.
Yeah.
I think for the, I don't want to say casual fan, but
Yeah.
maybe you weren't so much into the games back then, it would still be a twist. For them.
Maybe.
And you have all of the new fans, like the younger people.
It's true.
Well, and I think up until this point, they've basically said that it's legend. So if they're bringing a movie into the mix, you have to kind of think that they're making it canon at that point.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of... Wasn't that Knights of the Old Republic, wasn't it kind of set around the premise of the fact that there were an abundance of Sith?
I mean, it does delve more into the history of the Sith, and I mean, some of the places you can explore really have a connection to the dark side.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, part of the nature of the RPG is technically, we don't know what the story is because, I mean, you made a lot of choices along the way. And so, in the end, not to spoil anything, you could be light or you could be dark. Who knows?
Gotcha. Based on your decisions.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
And of course,
Yeah.
there was a sequel. And
Mm-hmm. Is this where Darth Raven came into play?
Darth Malak and Darth Revan were the two Sith at the beginning that have attacked your ship or something like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Kind of hazy on the details.
Well,
myself,
and I mean, I
but-
see them, but it's
Oh,
just
okay.
yeah.
The Sith jerks.
Well, and that those are the names that I'm familiar with because people want
Yes.
stories about them. So it doesn't shock me that they're developing something like that. But
Well, it's
then
very
it also makes it again. It brings it from legend to canon, which is kind
I'm
of exciting.
excited about.
Yeah,
They
It's
need to do
exciting.
more of that.
They might be trying to put the two together.
Well, and Knights of the Old
Make it
Republic
all-
was part of it was part of the expanded universe. So being brought to light is not just something of legend is a good way to bring older fans back to the franchise that you might have lost with the new
Oh yeah.
trilogy.
Yeah.
But I was thinking with Disney, they might be trying to streamline it and make it all one.
Oh,
Make
I'm
it all
sure they
fit.
want to make it all
Yeah.
fit. Yeah,
So.
But it was
and I
set.
think that's a good thing too.
It was set way before the Star Wars that we know.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a whole nother section of the history of the
It'd be
universe
before
that they're.
the prequels, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It's just a whole nother set of history that's
baby Jar Jar.
technically unconnected.
I don't even think
That's-
I don't
That's
even think
the plot
it'd be
twist.
That's the plot
it'd be
twist.
Papa Jar Jar.
Uh,
Okay,
yeah.
Kathleen
You
Kennedy.
finish the game and you're standing on the corner with a can.
Kathleen Kennedy back in April at Star Wars Celebration confirmed, yes, we're developing something to look at. Right now, I have no idea where things might fall. We have to be careful that there's a cadence to Star Wars that doesn't start to feel like too much, which they've since also kind of released that after this last one, after Rise of Skywalker, it's going to be 2 years.
It's gonna be a while.
2 or 3 years before we see another Star Wars movie. So now we will have the TV show in the between The Mandalorian,
Yep.
but I think that is something that does not the kind of people getting worn out on Star Wars every 6 months. I think it doesn't fall in that same line really.
I think The Mandalorian tells such a different story than what it's kind of like. It's going to be a hit or miss thing, kind of like Han Solo
Yeah.
and Rogue One, because they're the same story, but they're a different side of the story. And so
Yeah.
with The Mandalorian, it falls, way out of the realm of what normal Star Wars is. And so, you're basically following a bounty hunter.
Yep. So, Knights of the Old Republic was set 4,000 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire that occurred in Revenge of the Sith. So, 4,000. That's a while.
a little while. Yeah.
That's a couple of days.
But it is great to see them going, like you're saying, instead of telling the same story from a different angle or even being within the same family tree they're moving to a different realm of the universe.
Well, and I think you needed the to get to get fans on board with Disney's production of Star Wars, I think you needed Rogue One, and I think you needed Han Solo. Like, I think you needed those two to tell parts of the story for what's already there that don't exist or hadn't existed up until this point.
Oh, yeah.
But I think now you have to branch off because you've got Rebels that they're doing on Disney streaming, and I think Disney Channel or Disney Junior, and there's another one that they're doing, and I haven't seen it yet, but there's another Star Wars. It's kind of similar to Rebels in the fact that it's telling a story between stories, but at some point you have to break out of that, and because it's saturation at that point.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
This is completely and 100% off topic, but Jeremy, if you're still with us, Dell is doing a bunch of deals for Memorial Day on 1 millisecond monitors. So there you go. That one's for you.
If only your eyes were 1 millisecond.
True.
Maybe his are.
Nah.
So it is.
He has glasses. There's no way.
It's so yeah. You could get. It would be cool, like you said. That's a whole universe, like you said, set outside, and then obviously we'll see. Maybe we're gonna get something. It wouldn't surprise me with the new game coming out that whatever we get next is going to have some sort of tie-in. Like, if the game is successful, there'll have to be some sort of tie-in, so there can be a sequel, so the Joker can be a Sith Lord. So I'm curious about, you mentioned, you're talking about by the end of the story, whether you're light or whether you're dark, if there's going to be any of those types of choices in the new game. I mean, it's similar to, like, Red Dead in terms of, like, how many civilians you kill accidentally or on purpose dictates basically where you go, whether you're an outlaw or a good guy, sort of.
Yeah.
Just don't bump anybody with your horse. You'll be wanted for murder. So
yeah. Well, if anybody hasn't played it, now is the time. It's dirt cheap on PC. You can probably still find it for the consoles. I doubt it's backwards compatible, but it's you can customize your Jedi. You can build your own lightsaber.
Nice.
Do whatever powers you want. It's awesome.
Excellent. I'm going to have to add that to the list of things.
Is it on Game Pass?
I feel like it's on Game Pass.
So that might
the first one is. The second one isn't.
Yeah.
Second one is not as exciting as the first one, but
okay.
It's kind of like with when you saw Sixth Sense, you were like, "Oh wow, I see dead people."
Yeah.
And then when he came out with his next movie, you're like, "Oh, okay,
all right.
whatever."
Bees, plants.
There's a twist.
The grass is
It's been so
killing us.
long since I've seen that movie.
Water. Yeah.
So,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to spoil it for you.
No, I've seen it. It's been so long, I don't remember it at this point.
Well, that's what I do is I forget the movie and then I rewatch it again and enjoy it for the first time.
classic.
I don't think I'll be rewatching it.
Yeah,
But
man, I know that I've seen this and I know that I watched this.
Right.
But I remember absolutely nothing about it. Now, does that mean that I've watched too many movies between now and then that my brain has no more space, or the movie was so forgettable that I really shouldn't watch it again?
it's just your brain auto-deleting.
That's
There you
true. Like, I emptied my recycle bin at some point. I don't know what happened.
I'm a goldfish.
Nice. Speaking of gaming, you added this GOG Galaxy thing. Is that you that added that? Yeah.
Of course it was me.
I figured as much. So, give us the breakdown on what this is, because this looks like something very. I like consolidation and organization.
I was going to say, for most of us, it's not going to be as big a deal, but I'm really excited about it because essentially Galaxy is what Good Old Games calls their client. And so it, up until now, has managed your Good Old Games library. For those not familiar, Good Old Games is just one of the many online retailers for PC games, and their claim to fame is they primarily deal with DRM-free games, so you don't have to deal as much with, being tied to a platform. And so the new update they're doing for their client now, you can integrate your other libraries. So and they're kind of vague on a lot of their wording, but you can actually supposedly pull in your library from your consoles, your other PC-based launchers, and just have your full library in one place. They're also setting it up so you can tie in your friends lists with your other things. So a lot of times, whenever we're stuck the people playing Destiny have their full team and everybody else has got to be playing other stuff. I can theoretically be playing, my PC games and talking to you guys through the chat. Although, again, it's tough to say how those other platforms are going to let them tie in. But still, it's...
It'd be cool if they would, though.
Yeah, it's really exciting. A lot of potential there. Again, just a beta, so we don't know how much is going to happen, but it's very exciting.
It is like you said, there's so many different, because like on my PC downstairs, there's the Origin launcher, there's Steam, there's whatever. I installed and I bought this game from where? I don't know, that type of thing. So
the problem with PC gaming is there's just so many different storefronts and so many different launchers. And I mean, if you can get everything under one roof, it'll make a big difference, I think.
Yeah.
It's like the Roku for gaming.
Everything in one place.
Yeah, basically.
Speaking of storefronts, there is a new storefront that has a couple of problems.
Oh, boy.
The first thing is we're starting to see a lot of the Telltale games, because Telltale's gone now. Essentially, that studio's gone, and a lot of their games are just disappearing out of people's platforms and things like that. Like out of the storefronts, they're gone. So some people, because with Borderlands 3 coming up, there's a Tales from Borderlands Telltale game. That basically has disappeared, and a spokesman from 2K Games has said, "Hey, we're working on it. We know we're trying to get it back on digital storefronts here as fast as possible." So if you're missing some of those, you're looking for some of those, I'm sure you will get. It'll be back at some point. Hopefully. But on the flip side of that, Epic Games, and a tremendous epic. I don't want to call it an epic fail because I understand why they're doing this. If you buy too many games too quickly, your account gets banned. So they're anti-fraud.
During your sale.
In general. Like that's all we always talk about you always notice like, hey, it's Steam sale, it's this whatever, like here we go. Like it's I'm gonna buy 30 games that I will probably never play, but I have them if you guys ever want to. So during like sales and things like that, during the Epic sale going on, basically you get banned from purchasing more games if you buy too many games too quickly.
Interesting.
Somebody, Angriest Pat is his Twitter handle, said, I can confirm that me buying a whopping 5 games ranging from $5 to $50 on Epic Store flagged my account for possibly fraudulent. Maybe if you guys had a bleeping shopping cart, that's something that would probably offend Rev. So an Epic PR rep came out and said, hey, this is because of our aggressive fraud rules. If players run into this issue, they should contact player support. I get it.
But 5?
Exactly. Like,
That
well,
doesn't
especially
seem
right
excessive
now.
during a sale.
Yeah, they're running their Epic Mega Sale, where the games are up to 75% off, and their incentive is they'll give you $10 off every game that is $14.99 and up. So it's like, we're trying to get you to buy as many games as possible, but we really don't want you to buy more than 5.
So that is,
and we've got a lot of exclusives, but we don't want you to get all of them.
What is in the Epic storefront? I haven't even loaded it yet. Anything?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and
yeah,
it's a lot of the stuff that's everywhere else too. But there's a couple of them that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah, because there was somebody. Was it Epic the one that basically was taking a much smaller percentage?
Yeah.
From developers and the other platforms, basically, because Steam takes like,
I think it was like 30% for Steam, and Epic was like 18 or something like that, or I don't know. But also Epic, because they do Unreal, they also give you the added benefit of if you develop on their engine, they also give you a discount on that licensing. So
of course, that Unreal Engine has been around forever and a day.
But it's
still the engine. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you see so many games powered by Unreal, like Darksiders 3, powered by Unreal. So, yeah, so there's a lot of different things. I'm going to have to look at this. I want to go buy some video games. I feel like buying some games. So.
I just played Borderlands for the first time last night. Borderlands 2.
It was a lot of fun.
Nice.
We missed you guys.
What is it? Were you on Xbox?
Yeah.
I was on for a little while, but I didn't see you on.
Did you stream it?
No, we didn't.
Maybe next time.
I need to give you guys the stream key.
She tends to get
violent
and cursy, and so
You can tag it. You can tag stuff as mature.
You're shooting people. It's hard not to be violent in my defense.
Well, and the game is very violent. It's
Calm down, Cursey McCurses.
I'm not going to start a whole ad campaign on why we should all be playing Borderlands still, but
we should all be playing.
We should all be playing Borderlands.
What is from a multi? I mean, is it one of the things, sort of Destiny like, where a group of us can get together and more than 3 at a time? 4?
Okay, that's more than 3 though.
That is true.
But yeah, that is more than 3. But yeah, it's very much the same formula as Destiny.
Yeah,
you got a fire team you run around. It's not focused on the competitive side of things at all, though. So it's nothing but looking for bigger, better guns.
And it's funny.
And it does have a better sense of humor, I think. I think the characters are a lot better developed. But
nice.
Well, Destiny lost its humor whenever they killed Cade. So
don't get me started.
Just saying. However, the Drifter is dredging.
We're a week away from the new season of Opulence for Destiny. So Season of Drifter is a week over. So if you like playing, see, Brittany says, just mark it mature and cuss away. That's what I'm saying.
Well, on Destiny, I don't mean to interrupt you. I just finally finished my first Invitation of the Nine, like last night.
Yeah.
Now I've got other stuff to do. I was reading up and I'm like, first week of March. I'm way behind.
Yeah.
That's all right. We'll just keep on trucking.
I will say there's one thing. So when you
was when they released Thorn, though.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
When you do the whole thing with the thing of the 9 or whatever, you go to the place, and the first time, like, there's this person.
Yeah.
And it is gigantic.
Yeah, I was there.
Like, it was, yeah, it's one of those things that...
It was cool.
If you're playing really late one night and you're really tired and you're sitting maybe a little too close to the television...
It might be nightmare fuel.
It's a little unnerving, I'm not going to lie. Like, yeah, that's... Okay, that's a little creepy.
Yeah. Well, and what I didn't realize is, I got Thorn, but in the vision on that first one, there's Thorn being pointed at someone they're calling Dredgen.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's just interesting. The lore behind it is very interesting.
There's a lot of really great
There's a lot of good stories.
Speaking of stories and video games, we might actually get an update on the Avengers video game that Square Enix is working on, and we might get it at E3. So, what has led people to believe this is what's going to happen is Square Enix posted their, and I didn't have time to put anything up for visuals, so you can check the links. Yeah. They put up their announcement, like Square Enix Live, E3, June 10th, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And to the left and right of it, in the same frame, is something that's purple and something that's yellow. And then they posted it again, something that's green, something that's blue. And people are saying that those are Infinity Stones. Mm. So we've heard nothing about this game, really, for a long time. But it's just, right now, it's just been called the Avengers Project. So
they should have called it the Avengers Initiative.
They really should have.
That might have been too on
missed
the nose,
opportunity.
But missed opportunity.
Ties
Missed opportunity. Sure does.
Yeah. So
what if it's the Revengers instead?
The Revengers.
And they just want you to think it's the Avengers.
I'd be just fine with that.
Shut up and take my money.
Yes.
So it's being worked on by Crystal Dynamics, who are the developers behind the new Tomb Raider series. So I'm 100% on board with this because those Tomb Raider games are awesome, even if I die by being impaled by a branch many, many times. But they made, like, in the last one, like, they made Lara Croft pretty stabby and murdery. Like, it got dark. Like, so
she just goes, eh.
I was trying to think if Uncharted, if they were murdery.
I mean, there was a lot of shooting, certainly.
Like, as comparison. I don't know. I guess I just assume that they're all going to be violent.
With Uncharted, you spend a lot more time with guns. With Tomb Raider, you spend a lot more time now with bow and arrow. And
Stealthy
stealthy and...
Yeah.
So the official synopsis is, as a game based on beloved Marvel heroes, the Avengers project is being crafted by Crystal Dynamics, longtime developers of the award-winning Tomb Raider series, in collaboration with Deus Ex, a developer out of Montreal. So Avengers project is being designed for gamers worldwide, will be packed with all the characters, environments, iconic moments that have thrilled longtime fans of the franchise, featuring a completely original story. It will introduce a universe gamers can play in for years to come. Translation, Season Pass.
Right.
DLC. So you'll get a Thanos DLC. You'll get like a Kang DLC. You can buy Deadpool now, like he's a character. So there's a lot of cool things potentially coming out of E3. You know, we talked a couple weeks ago about the Subspace Engine and Microsoft, what they're going to do. Did we talk about the Microsoft-Sony thing last time we were here? I feel like we did.
I think you
that they partnered up. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I couldn't remember.
I think that might have been
Trying to
either
get
right
thoughts.
before we ran downstairs or after we came back. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, it's all kind of a blur. I don't think it was
Yeah.
too in depth.
So Sony was on one side, Microsoft was on the other. A tornado comes through the middle.
Yeah.
And then
Like,
Vaughn
you got
and
your
Ron are
chocolate
right
and
there.
my peanut butter.
Yeah, exactly. And then Vaughn and Ron are right there. I'm just saying, where all the bad stuff is happening, Vaughn and Ron are there. Are they villains? I don't know.
Did
So-
you know after that first night, with the storms,
Like Monday night, Tuesday
after
night.
Monday or Tuesday, whichever night
was Monday. It was
first
Monday,
one
yeah.
with all of the sirens that kept everyone up. The next day when I was watching it, like Ron was nowhere to be found. It was all just Vaughn, and I was like, "What just happened?" It was both of them, and now there's none. And I assumed that Ron just needed to sleep.
We
but
assume
Yeah.
he's fine.
We assume he's fine, but he hasn't been seen
I didn't
since.
see him for like 2 days.
It's funny. I kept thinking I was hearing sirens the next morning. Well, the next morning there was more.
There was more.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
at 6
and so like
a.m.
I woke up and I get all these alerts on my phone. I'm like, oh crud.
Yeah.
So then I'm like trying to not wake everybody up because I'm not even really awake myself. Don't really know what's going on. Turn on the news and I start hearing sirens go off. I'm like, son of a gun. And yeah. So anyway,
Yeah,
that was
Long
fun.
week.
my
Delayed
phone,
start for the day.
my
It was
phone
crazy.
went off, and since there was sirens all night, I didn't really think anything of it at first. I just looked at it and I go, "Oh, there's a warning," and I put it back down. And then I was like, "No, that's a tornado warning. Wait a second." And then the sirens.
Is the warning the
went
bad one?
That meme about listen to the sound of my people
Yeah.
welcome to Oklahoma it has never been more true than it has been
off.
this
I'm
week.
telling you, I feel like this was a test for like immersion. Is that what it is? Immersion therapy.
Yeah.
Because I've always been scared of tornadoes, and then after that first round, I was like, these sirens are going to be with us forever. If it's my time to go, it's my time to go, but I'll be well rested.
But I'm gonna be rested.
I'm good.
There was one night where they just kept going off over and over and over.
Didn't you
Nice.
say yours guys got stuck on or something like that?
Well, I mean,
We
I was
just
joking that
assumed-
they might be broken.
Okay. I thought you were being.
And then I was
serious.
joking that I was going to break them.
Yeah, well, no, I knew that. I knew that.
Because we were getting ours, because they're by the airport, and then I think we were getting a Watso and like Turley and everything that was kind of close by
Probably.
the airport. So it wasn't. We couldn't really figure it out because there was no rain at our house. But they
Radar
weren't-
seemed to indicate it had moved on.
Yes, but it wasn't the 30-minute intervals, so we knew it wasn't the flood warnings.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, I don't know, somewhere by us, I guess, is having bad weather and it's keeping us up.
I guess.
Speaking of Avengers, the top spot of Avatar might not happen for worldwide domestic or worldwide. So domestic right now it's only behind the first one, Force Awakens, I think, is where it is domestically or something. I can't remember. But now it's saying in-game slowed down more than anybody expected in terms of things. So if it does pass Avatar, they're talking about, because, you know, at this point, Avengers is still in the theaters, several screens, things like that. It will likely be sometime in like September, like around Labor Day, before it might actually pass. At that point, you're talking dollar theaters, things like that. But what I didn't realize is that Avatar was in the theater for 60 weeks.
Wow. That's ridiculous.
Opened in 2009, spent 60 weeks in theaters with no major competition, like in terms of that. So
How in the world did you spend that long in a movie theater?
Right.
It was out for a while. It was out for a while. Then it went out. Then they brought it back in. They brought it back.
Okay.
So
because that's it's longer than a year. So
yeah.
It's kind of setting yourself up to.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like you stack the deck in your favor to take the all-time record.
Yeah.
So Avengers it'll just never leave, and then it'll
Exactly. So they basically have said if Avengers continues its kind of how it's been doing business-wise, it's $10 to $20 million difference, like top or bottom, whether it beats it or not. And someone said, but it would be surprising if Disney just didn't get it there somehow. So, but after we talked about that last time, like later that afternoon, I went and saw it again. And like I almost think I enjoyed it more the second time because I was less stressed about watching what was happening in front of me.
You just enjoy it.
I just enjoy it more. And I didn't remember half of what they did with Captain Marvel in the final scene. Like in terms of that, I didn't remember that part of it. I didn't remember really about, because Brian was on and he's talking about the Black Widow, lack of her being at a funeral type of thing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they did kind of have that thing, and the Hulk threw a bench across a lake because he was angry.
That's not a funeral.
Well, they were all crying. So, hey, when I go, I want someone to throw a bench across a lake. I'm just going to put that out there.
I will throw it into the lake. Okay. I doubt very highly it'll even make it off the dock, but I'll give it.
Yeah.
We'll give it our
I'm going to give it my best effort.
Yeah.
As long as I don't smash my toe or something in the process, then it's over with.
I think her lack of funeral is just more of an indication that they're not done with her somehow.
Yeah.
The more I think about it.
Yeah. And they never saw 2014 Gamora again after that, after she hit Star-Lord in the nuts.
Stones.
Yeah, Space Stones. Nice. My mom's sitting on the beach in Destin. Hi, Mom. Nice to see you. Your car's only been rained on like twice. It's been in the garage the rest of the time. Sorry. It
was rained on in the garage.
Almost. So there was but yeah, it was good. So they've not seen, because that's who Guardians are looking for after the fact, which is, I guess what Guardians or as Guardians of the Galaxy are going to be. I enjoyed it. So if you haven't seen it more than once, do your part. Go see it again.
I feel so bad. We've been to see Detective Pikachu twice. But we have not gone back to Endgame.
It's really long. After you've seen it, you're like, this 3 hours seems a lot longer now that I know what's going to happen.
But I not even once did I feel like, man, like I know what's going to happen, and it still feels like 3 hours. Like it didn't feel that way.
All right.
So
I just don't know that emotionally. Truthfully, I don't know emotionally that I can go back to watch it again. I need
think
to watch it in the solace of my house.
I think that's what it is. I'm like,
that doesn't do anything for Avatar, though.
Well,
we have a mission.
Buy a ticket. I don't care if you actually go.
That's right.
Revengers.
But I think that it was hyped so much, and so many people have already seen it. There's not really a lot left that can go and see it again unless they're seeing it for a second time.
I think you're right. Basically, like you said, there was so much hype. There was so much.
So many people were worried about spoilers.
Spoilers, yep. And just everyone, just like you said, like I have not seen a theater like that since probably the prequels.
Right.
Joni was upset because she goes, the same people that were complaining about not spoiling Endgame are spoiling Game of Thrones. What in the world? She's getting so mad.
Tony Stark is on the Iron Throne.
With the gauntlet.
Iron Man, clearly.
There it is. They set it up 10 years in advance.
And he's a Stark.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
House of Stark.
Yeah. So, speaking of upcoming potential Avengers or Revengers,
I think it's Revengers.
From now on.
There has been discussion that you will see Deadpool in their introduction into the MCU, basically. They're talking about Deadpool 3 because it's just going to make $1 bajillion. There's talking about whether he gets a Disney Plus series, because there's an animated series I think that Donald Glover was part of that went away. But I don't know if you put that on Disney Plus, like I think you'd have to do that on Hulu if it stays on the darker side. But there's also talk about giving him a big part in the next Spider-Man movie.
I would
Deadpool?
love that.
Deadpool.
Yeah.
I love their comic team-ups. They're like
Yeah.
the most... I want to say the best friends, but
Not Far From Home, but the one
The
after.
next one, yeah.
Parker's a little unwilling sometimes to be his best friend. But from Deadpool's point of view, they are the best of best friends.
And that's all that matters. So what's interesting about that is then at that point, if you put him in a Spider-Man movie, Disney is basically giving Sony a nice chunk of money
Yeah.
because that's a Sony film still. But would it be so much money? They're like, here's the deal. Without Deadpool, we're going to make $500 million. And that's what Marvel is going to make, or Disney. If we put Deadpool and Spider-Man together, sure, we're going to pay Sony $500 million, but we're going to make $1 billion. Like, the math works.
Chump change.
Yeah, but I almost wonder if you take what is traditionally a kid's superhero movie and you kind of corrupt it a little bit that way. Because you can't have a Deadpool without being at least PG-13 or above.
Yeah.
It'd be tough.
I mean, you just can't, because then it takes away the comedy of Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. But I think Deadpool it almost plays to the Captain America language type of jokes or whatever. If Deadpool constantly tries whatever and Peter Parker is constantly telling him to stop, that type of thing.
Like Cyclops in the Deadpool.
Yeah.
Not Cyclops.
Colossus.
Colossus.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Something like that is is something there, because I think that would be, because this next Spider-Man movie, Far From Home, like it looks like a Spider-Man movie, but I think there's going to be, because you told me that's the actual end of the phase, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the Spider-Man movie,
Mm-hmm.
and so dealing with the aftermath and things like that, this might be a heavier Spider-Man movie than people are expecting.
I mean, it definitely could be.
So,
I think it's probably going to have to deal with loss.
yeah.
Because supposedly Aunt May was caught up in the Infinity Gauntlet snap, so would she have been brought back?
You should have to have.
Yeah, everyone's back,
You see
yeah.
her in the trailer.
Yeah.
Well, I almost kind of wonder if that's like, well, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because she's like, "Are you bringing everything?" And he kind of looks over at the suit like he's not sure.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Hmm.
We're not far. July.
But he is. He's far from home.
He is far from home. This is why superheroes never get a vacation, because Nick Fury will find you anyways.
That's right.
So
You would think that they would just. I mean, they're in England. England has their own superheroes.
it's true.
I mean,
Do
I
they?
see why.
Captain Britain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see why for the
Still
sake
counts.
of the
Doctor
movie they
Who?
have to. But I'm like,
Doctor Who. That's right. That's why they don't need the Avengers in Britain. Is they have Doctor Who
They have
That's right.
Doctor Who,
And they've got Harry
He-
Potter.
and
They're
Harry
good.
Potter.
Tex.
They're good.
the ultimate crossover. The only movie that's ever really made something similar to that was Ready Player One, and like every franchise in the world was in there.
It's so cool.
Speaking of classic movies that are getting rehashed, they released a new trailer for Terminator: Dark Fate.
Ooh.
Linda Hamilton is back. It's awesome.
Did she have a
Yes.
Medigun in what I saw?
She had a
well,
shotgun.
she had some guns.
Well, she always did. She was like,
She has a shotgun.
See what you
Even-
did there.
Yeah.
She has a shotgun with basically like a
Oh, it's a Sega shotgun. Yeah.
yeah, and so
it's
there's
badass,
that.
yeah.
She also has a rocket launcher.
The shotgun has like a I don't even know like a circular magazine.
It's like a Tommy gun magazine for a.
Basically,
It's a Tommy shotgun.
I've seen something like it before in on some different things, like a real shotgun that does that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think of, to be honest.
Well,
So
she needs to go deer hunting. So
so basically, this is
robot deer.
giant robot deer.
Does she have a deer call? Is it radio? What is it?
She just has to say, "My name is Sarah Connor" on the radio. They all come to her.
But see, so this did they oh my gosh, what do they call it? Where they just say that
Retcon.
this retcon.
So this is
Did they retcon the
everything after T2.
Really?
It's all legends.
It's all
It's
legends.
all legends. Dang it! One of my favorite ones is the one with Christian Bale.
Oh,
Bale.
Yep.
As,
So all of that, I believe
John
that is
Connor.
all. Yeah. So it is.
That's
This is
what?
a direct sequel.
I didn't see that one.
Oh,
I don't think.
This is a direct sequel to T2, and it looks pretty rad.
it does.
And the trailer itself, like
I'm watching it right now.
that first section, like that is such a callback to T2 in the semi truck and all of that stuff. I had no time.
Schwarzenegger's in this one too, right?
He is.
So now is it a Terminator that is a female cover or what? What's the story with that?
They haven't really explained it.
Okay.
She thinks she's human, even though she's clearly not. But she doesn't look like she doesn't look like a traditional T series. Like she's just not a metal skeleton underneath. It looks like she has some sort of like web or something. It's strange.
Some more like cyborg type, maybe.
Yeah.
So they kind of took some ideas from the Christian Bale version, where that Terminator thought he was human.
This article calls her a hybrid cyborg human. Okay.
Very similar to.
Yeah.
Is it Sam Worthington?
Sam Worthington. Yeah.
Very similar to his character.
So the official synopsis: 27 years after the events of T2 Judgment Day, a new modified liquid metal Terminator, played by Gabriel Luna, who was Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., is sent by Skynet in order to terminate Danny Ramos, played by Natalia Reyes, a hybrid cyborg human, played by Mackenzie Davis. She was in *Halt and Catch Fire*. And you'd probably recognize her. She was also in the new Blade Runner. And her friend Sarah Connor comes to her aid, as well as the original Terminator, for a fight for the future.
But wait a minute, the original Terminator had a beard. Can they grow beards?
It's human skin, yeah.
I mean, is it human skin?
Well, I mean, they can just put a beard
I don't think
on
it's
it.
human skin.
Yeah, maybe he just glues it on like special effects style. He's like, I'm gonna change up my look.
Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger, did you see him get drop kicked?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that?
Did you know that he's like, yeah, I just felt like I got bumped.
His face said a whole other story on that one.
So
I mean, it's surprising.
yeah.
Oh, golly,
What'd
I'm
he
glad
get
it didn't.
drop kicked for?
I don't know.
Somebody tried to drop kick him in like South Africa or something.
He was at some
That was weird.
weightlifting thing. This guy comes running out of nowhere and just double drop kicks him in the back. Then security quickly handles the guy
That guy no longer exists.
very abrasively, as they should have.
In more movies, and this is also somewhat gaming related. So they released that trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog, and the internet's like, "What have you done? what have you done?" And so the internet does what the internet does, and just absolutely goes bananas.
Yeah.
And says, "This is not my hashtag, not my Sonic."
Wow.
Hashtag murdered my childhood. Those types of things.
A little dramatic.
The absolute venom being spewed by the internet about Sonic's design is something that, the internet is a fairly ugly place most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was something wholly different. And basically they said, the message we got is loud and clear. You're unhappy with the design. You want changes. It's going to happen. Everybody at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be, which means basically they have to go and redo all the VFX. So they have pushed the release date from November of 2019 to Valentine's Day 2020.
Now, I think we've seen this trailer twice in the last week, right before Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Which the effects in were amazing. I mean, all of those characters were so well done, and I think the juxtaposition of the two just makes it all the worse.
He was good. I mean, the rest of the movie from the trailer seemed good, and
Everybody
his
else looks good,
personality seemed good.
Yeah.
In it.
Was it the human teeth?
Oh man!
I mean, I think that's what it is, because at first I thought he looks too tall. For some reason, that's what I thought. But then I saw a little plushie Sonic at the store the other day, and I was like, well, he looks about the same as this, minus teeth. So that's the only thing I can think of is it was the teeth.
I will say Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik looks pretty good.
Nice.
Very excited about that.
I don't know who else would play a Dr. Robotnik other than Jim Carrey, to be honest with you.
Danny DeVito.
No, Danny DeVito is Wolverine.
Danny DeVito can do whatever he wants. He can play both.
So
Except Batman.
Danny DeVito for everything.
So to fix that, which honestly I'm honestly a little surprised, because a Sonic the Hedgehog movie, while is an interesting concept. I don't see it as something that people are clamoring for. So to invest what I assume is probably another several $1 million into VFX to release this movie, I found it kind of odd, to be honest with you.
I just assumed, well, it might not be your Sonic, but it's clearly for kids, and they don't care.
Next generation, yeah.
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 Well, in their version of Sonic the Hedgehog that they've played, it looks different than what ours did.
Exactly. So
I mean, we had the cartoon, and that was the most of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than that, it was just, a bunch of blue circles.
I mean, maybe from a investment standpoint, it's not as much as we think. I mean, technically, it may just be a matter of going in and changing the character model a little bit and then having it
teeth re-render.
Exactly. And then just let the computer chew on it for about 6 months. And
Yeah.
But, I mean, we went and saw Detective Pikachu because that was our childhood. Well, Pokemon was our childhood. So maybe more adults are going to go see it than I assume.
it was so good.
It was very good.
Nice. There's your official. Do not let me forget. We need to talk about Fast and Furious 8 before we go. And even more movie news. Todd McFarlane, Spawn, has basically said, here's the deal. The people who are backing the film financially, we have to get them all on the same page with the screenplay. If they make me change it too much, I'm out. He's like, we're just not doing it.
That makes sense.
So that is, if you know anything about Todd McFarlane, or have you ever seen him speak or whatever, that is so Todd McFarlane. It's like, this is going to be my way, because he's also directing the film. My story, my movie, that's it.
If John Leguizamo's not in it, I'm not going.
Then you're not going.
Same with the Mario reboot that they'll probably
Yes.
So we've also had, let's see here, a couple other gaming things real quick. DC Universe Online, a free-to-play game, is coming to the Nintendo Switch this summer. There's been a lot of people have been fairly excited about that. Actually, I didn't know that it was actually still up.
Right? It's been forever.
And so it's on PC, Xbox One, and PlayStation, but it will come to the Nintendo Switch this summer. I don't know. I guess that will be. We'll have to see how that goes.
Maybe that'll be our next big game.
Could be. And other gaming news as well. Okay, how do you pronounce this? Is it Ouya?
Ouya, yeah.
Ouya, which, how long did that last?
Oh, man.
Apparently we have one.
We do, yeah.
Apparently you need to download some games right now.
No. It's Android based, so I can just sideload anything I want.
Nice.
Just have to get the APK. But yeah, we got it dirt cheap. I don't know. It was after the Kickstarter ended. It was at Target for a long time.
Yeah.
And it just kept going down and down in price, and finally I was like,
We have like 10.
I want to get one of these.
$10 or something.
Yeah, it was super cheap. And so we used it for basically a media player for a long time.
Nice.
We've played very few games.
I forgot about it.
And one thing is about this particular group of people, like there's people who've been on the podcast, things like that. If we find great deals places, like we end up just taking pictures like, who needs this? Who needs that? So
Pretty much.
But the Ouya was fantastic because it was part of that big, huge group of kind of single, really small systems that was coming out around that time, specifically for either games or media. And you still see a lot of these Android-based media players around. And you can turn any of those into basically an Ouya just by, installing games on them, because all they are is just Android-based, media players.
Is there ability to, can you still, because I just think in terms of like security and things like that, can you update the version of Android that's on them, or is it basically hard locked?
Absolutely not. No.
All
They're hard locked, insecure. Again, download the APK on another device, put it on a flash drive, plug it into your Ouya game stick, whatever else you've got, and
off you go.
No personal information.
No personal information. That's right.
So eventually, I guess, wow, it went all the way back to 2012.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kickstarter was, at the time, it was one of the most supported projects ever at $8.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
It got completely funded within 8 hours after going live.
It was a good little deal. It just, I don't know.
Catch-on, I guess.
Yeah.
Like
It's a weird part of the
Laserdisc.
market.
Yeah, it got bought up by
Razer
in 2015. Then Razer's like, yeah. So I guess it took the gaming content into their own set-top box. I guess they have something called the Forge.
Yeah.
But Fraser is also officially discontinuing support for Forge TV. So bye-bye. So yeah, always something happening there.
Basically, now everybody's just buying pies.
Yeah, for the most part. They've
Don't
talked.
let me forget, we got to get on that.
They've talked about this isn't in the agenda, but they're talking about when the new Project X Cloud or Scarlet Cloud, whatever they're going to end up calling the new Xbox, is going to be.
Scarlet Cloud sounds like a disease.
I really hope we get a Scarlet Cloud
It would be
Sounds
fantastic. if we did.
edition. Like Project Scorpio was green.
Yeah.
You might as well give us a red one and call
I
it
agree.
Scarlet Cloud.
Absolutely.
Scarlet Cloud seems like some sort of chemical or bio warfare.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
Basically,
It kind of is.
every Xbox One game, every game that came out for the Xbox One will be backwards compatible with the cloud, with the whatever they're going to call it. There's also rumors too that either during E3 or sometime this summer, we are going to get pricing in everything for the new Google Stadia box as well. Some people are theorizing based on some of the articles now that it's not going to be, it will be a similar how Microsoft does their monthly things for the console. It will be that versus buying a piece of hardware. There's someone saying that because of the testing and stuff they did with gaming within Chrome, like what they did with Assassin's Creed, that Google Stadia won't require a piece of hardware at all.
Yeah.
And so,
I mean, that's the draw, right? Is
I'm
they've got
working.
all the, yeah,
in
exactly.
Chrome.
They've
Killing
got all
things.
the processing power and the GPUs, all that on the back end, and
Yeah.
they just push everything through, streaming. And Microsoft has been kind of pushing towards that, as has Sony.
Yeah.
And the question is, who can do it better?
Yeah, and that's why Sony and Microsoft joined forces. I read a very interesting article talking about the people at Sony who basically do the PlayStation 5 and stuff like that. They didn't even know it was coming until the announcement was made,
Oh man.
Oh, wow.
and they were angry. They're like, whatever. Like, this has nothing to do with the PS5. This is basically all about, essentially, Stadia must be a fairly legitimate threat
Right.
based on what they know in order for them to be putting, like, basically joining forces in some ways.
That's what I was thinking.
They know something we don't.
Well, I mean, they already are pushing, the monthly subscription for online gaming, monthly subscription for, access to all the games.
Yeah.
So the next step is, that thing they're already pushing with the hardware where you just do a monthly subscription for it.
Yeah.
But if Google can do all that without the hardware, I mean, that's cutting off so much overhead-wise. I mean, the whole platform, first of all, it's going to touch everybody. You don't necessarily have to be, part of that distinct group, and you can charge a lot less for it.
Exactly. And yeah, because you don't have even if you charge $10 a month, whatever you charge for it, like, it's one thing to pay $60 a year for Xbox Live. If you have slick deals, you're paying $60. You're doing it wrong. But you also have to buy a $300 or $400 console. Like, that's a steep cost of entry.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, like I said, if Google can do it cheaply and effectively, yeah, I'm not surprised that Microsoft and Sony are like, well...
I mean, they don't even have to do it super cheap. I mean, technically, your subscription, like you said, if you're paying $60 a year, which I know, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you're doing the Google subscription for $30 a year,
Yeah.
people are definitely going to switch over to that if it's, performance-wise.
And Google's got so much the stupid cash floating around. You're talking about IPs and exclusive titles that are likely going to be... They're not going to suck. Like, that's the thing. They're going to spend a lot of money on this because what else is going to Google do with all the money they made from selling your personal data?
Right.
So, what else we have? There's a new Dungeons and Dragons supplement. I only brought this because of Nick. That seeks to impart, this is from comicbook.com, a new Dungeons and Dragons supplement seeks to impart the lessons of Sun Tzu's The Art of War on tabletop gaming. T. Black has written The Art of War for D&D players, a new DM's Guild supplement that translates many of the lessons imparted in Sun Tzu's Art of War for use in D&D.
It's on.
It also serves as a basic strategy guide and a refresher about many D&D's combat rules. Things like, I just saw that, and like, Art of War is pretty, there's so many variations on it. It's like management and the Art of War.
Right.
The Matrix and the Art of War.
I mean, I have read some of the book, The Art of War, not like in relation to anything. even without it being directly applied to things, you can take bits and pieces of
We
it and
need to
apply it
write
to yourself.
podcasting in the art of
In
war.
the art of
There
yes.
you go.
All right.
There you go.
So, in last news, in comic book news, and I bring this up mainly because of what's sitting behind Nick right now. Tom King is out, or is allegedly out for Batman, writing Batman. He was trying to do 100 issues, did not quite get there due to declining sales, but he's the one who did the Batman Catwoman, that whole marriage overarching thing or whatever. That right there. Say hello to King. And so he will be he's coming off Batman, and then he will be writing a new book, which is basically a Batman Catwoman book, like a team up book essentially. So it will be, I guess, after that or whatever, some of the sales and things like that have kind of dipped off, and so he said Batman and Catwoman has a chance to do what Morrison and quietly did in Batman and Robin, launch an ambitious, successful, beautiful, thrilling new series that concludes years of stories and defines what Batman is, can, and will be. This will be a comic about what the best Batman comics have always been about, how our greatest hero turns fear into bravery, pain into hope, trauma into love. It's a story I've always wanted to tell, and I'm telling it. Oh, I'm being dinged about something. I'm telling you what the man I consider to be the greatest artist in comics, my brother Clay Mann. And so they posted the first image, the first cover for it. It's pretty awesome. So add that to your pull list, people. So yes, that is pretty awesome. All right, to conclude today's episode, the most important thing we are going to talk about today. Let's talk about Fast and the Furious. Let's talk about the submarine. Let's talk about all the things. What did you think?
Okay. It's been a while, so it's not quite fresh. Lynn might have
Does it need to be?
help me with some of it. I was surprised about the child.
The child. Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh,
plot
yeah.
twist.
That's how they got Dom in. And I kept thinking, like, just from the trailer made it look like he had this thing with Charlize Theron, or possibly, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem in character. I couldn't think of what she could have on him to make him go along, and I thought it was going to be his sister. So I was completely surprised with the baby.
Was baby Dom. Isn't that his name? Dom? The kid's name?
I think they named it
No, they named it after
Brian?
Brian, yeah.
Brian somebody, because the girl
Brian
named
Dominic Toretto.
something.
Something like
Brian.
that.
The girl
Something
named
like that,
his
yeah.
middle name and was calling it by the middle name and said that he could name its first.
Oh, that's right.
But then I thought when they got rid of the mom, I thought, well, that was a stupid mistake.
That was a stupid mistake.
He's not going to want to cooperate with you now.
Right.
You just killed somebody.
This is Villain 101.
101.
I was
Yeah.
like, we've had, up until this point, 7 movies all about family. And
Yeah.
How you don't mess
you're
with his
gonna
family.
go and do something to his family. But I will say,
And out of character, he does nothing about it.
he does end up doing
Made me so mad.
He negotiates
about it.
politically.
Oh my
He
goodness.
sends several letters.
Just like always, you're right.
But my favorite part, I think, was with Jason Statham and the baby.
Oh, when
yeah.
the baby's in the carrier?
And
That was
he's
the best.
doing all of the shooting, and he's like, here, put these on so it would protect his ears, and then he's like maneuvering him certain ways to keep him out of danger.
That was amazing.
It was really awesome, and I liked how they brought back the younger Shaw for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I did like the submarine. I was a little confused on, I guess, how they kept turning it on and off.
I assume there's
Well, you
like
see,
a button.
Everything is connected to the internet.
Well, I know, but then
in this there's
a little cell phone receiver inside the submarine. And that's what they use
it's
to
a
connect
USB
to.
stick.
It's a USB stick. That's
but
right.
then they were people
It's a
were
dongle.
inside of the submarine too, who could just manually turn it on and off. That's where I was like, how is this still an issue? Why don't they just turn off power?
Oh no.
He counted on a guy somewhere else to turn it on, so he never had to push that button. He wasn't sure what it was.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah.
I mean, the thing about that movie that got me was we're just going to steer a rocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Or a
course you
torpedo. Torpedo, let me be accurate.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
mean,
And
I'm going to say that might have taken his hand off.
no.
And realize it's The Rock.
But you see, he was fast.
Oh,
And he was furious.
And he was furious. Okay, gotcha.
8
Oh,
times.
but that reminds me of the very first part of the movie
Yes.
when he's racing and his whole car catches on fire.
And he drives it backwards?
Yeah, he just drives it backwards. And I was like, I still think that would be dangerous. I still think you might get hurt.
There's absolutely no way that car went that fast in reverse. I'm just going to tell you that right
Well,
now.
I don't think it would go that far at all. It was like falling apart.
But he took off the thing, which means that, yes, it can.
He uncapped the thing.
Something.
I think it was a fuel pressure
And he
regulator,
added
is what I think
NOS.
it
And
was.
then he destroyed the car in the process, and he was trying to race to get the car
To save
back.
the car.
I mean, he fixed it. He gave the guy his car, but I was just like, I don't think this worked out how you planned for it to work out.
No, it totally did.
I mean,
His
yeah.
point was you sacrifice what you got to sacrifice to make things right
For family.
for family.
For
And
family, but that guy wasn't family. But the principle of it
I think
was
the other
so-
guy-
well, the whole point of the whole family in the Fast and Furious thing isn't biological.
Well, I
Right,
know
right.
The
that.
whole purpose about it is people that you bring around you become your family.
But that guy, at least
Your
at that
chosen
point,
family.
he didn't. I don't even
It's
think
true.
he knew him. He just didn't like the bullying type aspect, which is admirable. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it. I'm just saying I don't think he was really thinking that far ahead. But he did make it right.
There's no thinking aloud in Fast and Furious
He
movies.
gave him his car, and then
We
that
should have learned
guy
that. You're right.
learned a lesson. Who he was racing again, and I think he ends up helping them towards the end of the movie.
He did, yeah.
or
I believe
something,
you're
bringing
Came back
them
around.
this, yes.
Fast and the Furious 1 and Tokyo Drift are the only two movies that there was any thinking at all, ever.
I don't know.
Brian figuring out whether he was a cop or going to let him go,
Uh-huh.
and this kid figuring out if he's going to be part of the drift world or not.
That's very true.
Touche.
That's it. Those are
But-
the only two choices that were ever made.
And since those characters are not in this movie, you can assume there's going to be no thinking.
But I did like it, and I really liked when Rome has to basically skate on the ice with the door, and the
Oh,
door
man.
gets blown off or whatever, and he's just on the ice curled up.
Ejectocito, cuz.
That was really funny. And yeah, the racing against the submarine.
That's amazing. All right, so I assume that there's going to be a group viewing for Hobbs and Shaw,
I
right?
hope
There
so
needs to-
now.
There needs to
Yeah.
be.
Yes,
There needs to be.
I feel like that needs to
Yes,
happen.
because that was the other thing when they break the Rock, Hobbs and Shaw out of prison. That whole
Oh, that was
thing
great.
was fantastic. The choreography and everything.
He
for
was
that.
The Rock was posting tons of videos whenever they were doing that. It was insane.
So
Like
I-
just the behind the scenes stuff.
Mhm.
It was insane.
So that alone made me want to watch Hobbs and Shaw.
All right, so what is the over/under on Vin Diesel showing up, even just for a cameo in Hobbs and Shaw?
He has to. I would.
Are we saying first part of the movie, middle part of the movie, after the credits?
Oh. I like that you
And-
didn't give us a, at the end, at the crucial, important part. You waited till after the credits.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in Tokyo Drift, it was after the credits, right?
Right.
So it'd be something like
It
that.
could.
But Tokyo Drift tied in Jason Statham.
But
That's
this,
how they got there.
Yeah. But this, I'm sure they're going to want to tie this
That was
into
too long
the
a trip
rest
to get
of
there,
the
by the way.
movies. So I think that there will be some sort of connection to it with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
I don't see him wanting to stay out of it.
The thing is you just have to watch those movies and you have to appreciate basically what they have done for car culture as well as just general fun movies.
I like him.
I mean, there's been so many things that people have enjoyed from them that are, the vehicles and
Yeah.
obviously, the mandatory race scene that's in every single movie.
The longest quarter mile in history.
Yeah.
Well, this last one, they said they put the race in as tribute to Paul Walker because the beginning of the race in the first one, I think is what they said. And supposedly, you see one of Paul Walker's cars when they get into the base or whatever, and they're like, you can pick out any car. Supposedly in the background, his car is there, but I couldn't find it.
Well, he had an entire warehouse when he passed.
Yeah.
He had like 2 or 3 Skylines and some
Well,
old
I'm sorry.
Datsuns.
Paul Walker's characters' cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Well,
I think.
I think some of them are his cars.
Okay.
Yeah, because he bought several of the cars from the movie. I think the one you're talking about, I think is the Sky. I think his Skyline's
The blue
there.
Skyline.
Yeah.
The silver one?
I think
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then they said that Scott Eastwood in Rome's dynamic was very true to life because the three of them, Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson and Scott Eastwood, were really close friends, and that's why they brought in Scott Eastwood, and so they still had that banter that is similar. So I thought that was nice. I thought that was sweet.
Now we have to find another franchise for you to watch.
Well, I have to watch John Wick.
You haven't
yeah.
watched John?
I
Okay.
haven't watched John Wick.
Would you like to borrow the movies on your way out?
Well, I've seen 1. I haven't seen 2.
I haven't seen any of them.
I don't think I've seen 2, actually.
We have
No, I don't
John
think
Wick on Plex, the first one, but we don't have the other one.
We will rectify that on your way out the door.
Okay.
I'm a walking blockbuster. So you got John Wick next. Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to think of another series.
John Wick 3 is pretty good. You learned so much about the lore, the John Wick lore in 3. Like, there's a lot of like little pieces, and the action is just absolutely bananas. And they have, since you brought it up, they have already announced John Wick 4. Already have a release date. Like,
Wow.
Yeah,
Super excited about
yeah,
that.
Didn't 3 just come out a
last
month ago?
week.
Last week?
Yeah.
They're treating it like a Netflix series. They get a week out
Yeah.
of it being released. By the way, we're making 5 more movies.
Well, I think it's
Apparently
Stars. Stars is doing, and you'll understand this when you see it. This will excite you probably because of it. Stars is doing a series based on the Continental, based on the hotel. Think of it like Highlander Holy Ground. So,
I was hoping it's going to be about dogs. It's the only thing I know about the movie.
yeah.
And that's just the very itsy-bitsy
Yeah.
part that carries you through it all.
All of it. All right, we're going to get out of here because we've got stuff to do. But next week, we will not be here because we will be in Denver.
Yep.
So we will be blowing up your phones and everything like we did in Dallas. We'll be in Denver hanging out at Denver Comic-Con. You'll see us and our friends and everybody hanging out. We'll see what's going to go on there. Critical Role is going to be there. That's going to be pretty amazing.
Joan, I'm going to get your autograph. Don't worry about it.
Heroes.
Yep.
Hashtag Joel in the
Hey, the pint glass for Denver and the taster, it's Critical Role. That's their design this year.
Yeah.
Last year was the Valkyrie, which was really pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Ragnarok was the beer name. What was? Hold on, let me. Denver.
What's the name for this year?
I'm finding. Culture. Con,
Is it Critter?
beer? No.
Critter beer? Critter beer?
Box Machina is
Okay.
what it's called.
Oh, that's
Okay.
nice. I like
Yeah.
that.
So that's the name of their, Vox, I think it's Vox, Vox.
Yeah.
They have a after show that they do.
Yeah, play on the adventure group Vox Machina from Critical Role,
There
but
you
the taster glass basically has what looks like a dragon skull holding a D20.
It's pretty cool.
Yep. And I will continue my quest. There are 2 pint glasses I don't have.
Didn't you see one at Breckenridge Brewery, their little booth last year?
They had them there, but they were under a glass case, so they're not for sale, nor could I break the glass case to steal them. This year, I don't know. I promised nothing.
When you're on the floor, if you see unstable unicorns, buy it.
Unstable Unicorn.
Unstable
It's a card
unicorns.
game.
Card game.
Card game. Okay.
I think Joni would like it.
I want to say I saw it when we were in Dallas, but I had no idea what it was. It was right next to Exploding Kittens.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah.
I've never played either one of
It's
them,
very
so I don't know.
similar. To
They had it at PAX, and we got all the
everything.
expansions and stickers and pins.
stickers.
And
I got everything.
Interesting. Okay.
If nothing else, I think she'd like the animation.
All right. You might just have to message me when we're there because I'll forget that between now and then. I'm
Nice.
certain.
yeah,
of
the
it.
art style and the sense of humor is good for a card game.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
All right.
Well, this is going to wrap up episode 124. I'm sure there's a title in here somewhere, and there was one. I had it, and I didn't write it down.
I sent you one yesterday or 2 days ago.
A title for 124?
I did.
GTN and the Art of War.
No.
That's
That's better than the one I sent.
We're going to take that.
You
Yeah,
better
we're
trademark that, by the way, before somebody else picks it up.
Yeah.
and put it in the notes.
They're
So,
gonna be-
Ooh, yeah.
hashtag. All right, guys. Episode 124, GTN and the Art of War. I'm Cav. That's Nick.
See you guys.
And Sam. I almost called you Church. Sorry.
I don't remember what he says. Not evil? No, that's you.
kind.
Be kind. Yes.
Or don't be kind.
Whatever you choose, it's your life.
That's true.
Nope.
Hannah.
I'm Hannah. I'm not evil.
All right. Bye, guys.